Okay, hey Trisha, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are
I'm
you?
awesome. Thanks so much for taking the time. I know
Yes,
that
sir.
we want to talk about Bold, and you've got a room full of people that want to
Yes,
hear about Bold. And
yes.
so, what I want to do is you've probably got some questions that I can help folks in the room with. And so, what are you hearing? What type of questions can I help y'all with?
So, Pat, thank you so much for taking the time for this call. We are having some questions right now from some agents that, they're just saying they're too busy. They're too busy to take bold. I'm just curious, how would you respond?
Well, first of all, when somebody says they're too busy, that typically tells us that they're focused on something. For example, they're busy with maybe transactions, okay, or they're busy with thinking they're busy type of deal.
Right.
So what I would encourage people to do is to think about if they're too busy on one thing, there's probably something else that's being impacted. So I find this many times in talking with agents. They say they're too busy, and I say, so does that mean other parts of your life are being impacted? And they always will say yes. So I might be too busy in my real estate business, however, not spending enough time with my family. Well, here's the thing. One thing is going to suffer at the expense of the other. And one of the premises behind Bold, Tricia, is that we're going to help people get balance and counterbalance, if you may. So when somebody says they're too busy to grow themselves, to learn a better way, to learn more systems, learn more efficiency, that's really a blind spot, because it's been said often, when we stop growing and learning, we stop earning.
Right.
So if somebody says they're too busy to grow or learn, then they're really too busy to earn. And here's why this is really important right now. Your market is in a shift. We've talked about it. I've seen the numbers. And the challenge is for many, and I trust everybody will hear this the way that it's intended, we've been living on a lot of market momentum for the last few years. And that doesn't mean that it didn't take some effort to get those listings, to get those buyers. That's not what we're saying. However, the market is shifting, which means we're going to go from a momentum market to a skills market. And
Right.
when somebody says they're too busy to grow their skills, that's really a blind spot. And so Bold is going to help people in three areas. It's going to help them with their business, it's going to help them with their life, and it's going to help them with systems and tools so that they can be more efficient in what they're doing.
Right. I understand that absolutely. So in talking about that, some other agents have mentioned I'm busy, but even if I carved out some time for this, and I know that it's important, money right now is really an issue for me, and I
Sure.
just don't have it up front. I just don't. I
Yeah.
had some deals fall through. Yeah.
So Tricia, when we're in Bold, we talk about our mindset. And what I would encourage everybody to write down is the following. 90% of success is mindset. 90% of success is mindset. And then 10% is skill, Skill. Our mindset is what really holds us back. So when if I was to do a role play with you, and let's say you were that agent, and you tell me that you tell me what you just told me they would say, and we'll just go through a real quick role play.
So I even if I carved out some time for Bold and I made some time in my schedule, I just don't have the money right now
Right.
up front because I've had a deal fall through and
Sure.
I'm nervous about financing for my family, my mortgage.
Right. So Trisha, I'm also nervous for you, yet in a different way, because if you say that you don't have $799 to invest in yourself, if there was an emergency in your life, your family, how would you find that $799? That concerns me. Okay. So what it tells me, though, is that we have more opportunity. So let me ask you a question first to change kind of the way you're thinking. The average Bold student does 14 transactions, Trish. How many?
14.
Now, do you see yourself as average?
I mean, a little better than average. No.
No. In fact, you don't want to ever see yourself as average, because
No.
average is the best of the worst
Right.
and the worst of the best. You don't want to be average. Yeah,
No.
let's just take that number of 14. Your average sale price in your area is how much, Trish?
About 200.
So let's do some easy math. 200 times 3% commission is how much?
6.
That'd be $6,000 per transaction. Now, Trish, instead of doing some real complicated math, let's just do simple.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's say that you didn't do 14 over 7 weeks, you did 10. 10 times 6,000 would be how much?
60.
60.
60,000.
So I just have a question for you. What would $60,000 do for you right now in the financial situation you're in?
I mean, it would help me pay in advance these bills that keep looming in the slower months, I think.
So literally $60,000 over the next 7 to 12 weeks when it closes would change your life.
Right. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. If I came to you and I said, Trish, I've got an investment opportunity. You're the investment opportunity, Trish. And that investment opportunity is going to return $60,000 over the next 7 to 12 weeks. Would you be able to find $800 to make that investment?
Yeah, you bet.
Like, what would you do? What could you do?
I don't borrow the money.
Okay, right there. You could borrow the money, right?
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. You know McDonald's franchise, right?
Right.
When you open a McDonald's franchise, you realize most people have to borrow money to get into that business.
Yes.
Most real estate agents don't borrow money to get in their business, yet at some point they may need to borrow some money.
Right.
And yet agents will go, no, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing that. Well, the alternative, Trish, to be honest with you, is this. If you keep doing what you're doing right now, and clearly you don't have the income you desire to have right now, correct?
Right.
So where is that going to take you? Towards more income or away from more income?
It's going to take it away.
And BOLD is going to take you towards. So instead of focusing on what we don't have and what we can't do, we've got to get agents to focus on what they can do and the possibilities. So we've had people borrow money, Trish. We've had people who have put it on a credit card. And by the way, I'm not endorsing taking on debt. However, Trish, for you right now, this could be a defining moment.
Yeah.
I had an agent who borrowed $800. She's now one of the top 1,000 agents in real estate in the United States.
Wow.
So this is what I would say to you in our role play, and then we'll jump out of it. I'd say, Trish, are you willing to do whatever it takes to get in the BOLD room? And most people will say, yep, now that I'm thinking about it differently, I'm willing to do. Right. Here's what I would say. If somebody is in this room listening to this right now, and they haven't enrolled in the free first step, then get them enrolled, bring them to the room. We'll work on their mindset. We've had people sell cars to get into BOLD. In fact, just to give you one last short story, we had a gentleman who came into the BOLD room a negative $36 in his checkbook. Wow. He sold a car to pay for BOLD. He just closed about 3 months ago the largest real estate transaction in Cincinnati, Ohio, and he got a commission check, Trish. Hold on. A commission check for $320,000 in one day. And 3 years ago, he was dead broke.
Wow.
So the people that are sitting there going, I don't have the money, the fact is we better figure out how quick, because with the market shift, if they don't have any money now and they don't change what they're doing, they're not going to have any money 2 to 3 months from now, and then they're going to have to make a different choice.
That's right.
What else, Trish? What other questions?
One other would be, okay, so what if they've taken BOLD before and they just didn't feel a connection with the coach or with the room? The room was just, there were other agents in there, they just weren't feeling it.
I always love that. I'm not feeling it, right? I didn't have a good experience in BOLD, and we always love that. And by the way, we always take responsibility for those experiences. Yet, here's what I always say to people. I say, so Trish, I get you weren't feeling it or whatever your experience was. However, let me ask you just a question. When you were at BOLD on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I did everything the coach asked me. 10, I sought out the coach. 10, I did all the things, just everything. That's a 10. 1, not so much. Where was your input in BOLD? Now, what do you think most people answer?
They probably answer 5.
A 4 or 5, right? And then I say, well, you know what? First of all, thank you so much. Now my question is this. What experience did you have in BOLD on a scale of 1 to 10? And guess what they always tell me?
What?
A 5.
Yeah.
They got out of BOLD what they what?
Put in.
Here's the thing. I'm not there for you to connect with me. With all due respect, if you're paying $800 for me to connect, you're paying way too much.
Yeah.
See, I'm your coach. And great coaches, Vince Lombardi, one of the greatest football coaches ever. All of his players didn't like him. They respected him, and they won championships with him. And I can assure you they like that much more than liking him.
Right.
This isn't about liking the coach. Yes, you have to connect with them, and I get it. Yet here's the thing. I get to make the choice if I'm going to connect. And sometimes people just go, oh, I don't want to connect because they're not willing to get uncomfortable. Bold is about getting people comfortable being uncomfortable. So Trish, those people that said that, here's what my guarantee is, and I'll leave you with this final thought.
Perfect.
You show up at First Step to Bold. You enroll in First Step to Bold, and I'll make you a personal guarantee. You come and you play all in. On a scale of 1 to 10, you show up as a 10. If you need extra help, you come early. You reach out to me. You do everything we're asking you to do. And I'll guarantee your Bold experience. And you come back at the end of Bold, Trish, or anybody who's listening to this, and you go, hey, Bold was a waste of my time, energy, money, and resources. I'll have my checkbook with me. I'll write you a check for $799. However, before I hand it to you, I'm only going to ask you one question. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 you were all in, 1 not so much. Where was your input? And if you don't answer a 10, I'm not writing you a check, because I can guarantee you my input is going to be a 10, and we're going to transform your life if you choose to allow us to.
Awesome. Thank you so
Trish,
much.
thanks so much. Guys, go register. I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.
Thanks, Pat.